Today on the Chat and Chew Show.
Ma'am, how can I do that?
Right.
What you mean? So that's how it started, and that relationship with Dr. Greer really created a sense of confidence around I can do whatever I want to do within alignment, right? Within alignment.
Hey, it's Carla, aka Home Cook K, and I'm here with another plant-based recipe. This spring, in the height of the pandemic, we weren't eating out as much, and I was craving General Tso's chicken.
All right. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Chat and Chew Show. My name is Betty.
And I'm Roxanne.
And we are super thrilled you are joining us today. You clicked on the Chat and Chew Show, and I believe it is on purpose because today's show is going to be incredible. Now, this show is designed to empower you to do your relationships better. And as you know, everybody's in a relationship, not just a romantic relationship. You could be an auntie, an uncle. I always try to come up with stuff. I don't know, a Zumba teacher.
Zumba. A hot yoga teacher.
Ooh, what kind of teacher?
A hot yoga teacher.
A hot yoga teacher. Oh my. Have you ever taken a hot yoga class before?
I've never taken one because I was concerned about the germs and also possible smells.
Okay.
It's not that bad.
So if we are honest, all of us are in some type of relationship. We're connected to another human being. And it is difficult a lot of times to navigate those relationships and make them really, really good. So the Chat and Chew Show is here to give you tips and tools to make your relationships better. And we want to hear from you. If you have some relationship struggles and all that, we want to hear from you because we have experts and people who've been through life, and they can give you some real good tips and tools to be able to navigate your relationships. So you guys, this show is going to be off the hook. So you want to hang on, and we'll see you on the other side of the break.
What's my purpose? Where do I belong? And exactly what am I supposed to do with my life? One of the most powerful ways relationships can add value to our lives is by helping us discover our path. Today we are joined by author and licensed master social worker, Kimberly Mays, as we discuss the important role relationships play in finding your niche. Although she has worked in various areas of social work practice, including nonprofit and education, Kimberly found her niche as a travel social worker, pairing two areas of her life she enjoys, traveling and social work practice. She is the curator behind My Social Work Career, a company focused on helping social workers transition in their career from recent graduates to seasoned professionals. Kimberly has also written 2 books. The first is entitled Pathways to Healing, a 60-day empowerment devotional for survivors of sexual abuse. And her most recent book is Travel Social Work, a practical step-by-step guide on how to become a successful travel social worker. Get ready, Chat Tribe, for a rich discussion on becoming.
Kim, how are you? Kimberly, how are you?
Good morning. I am well in sunny yet rainy South Florida. So
you're in Florida.
I'm doing a bit of both. Yes, I'm well. I am in Florida. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, cool. So it's so good to have you today. Kimberly, you're going to hear more about her story, but she has written 2 books. And I would say go to Kindle right now, Amazon, and order those 2 books, Pathways to Healing. And the other one is called Traveling Social Worker.
Yes.
Right? Did I say it right?
Yes, you did. Mm-hmm.
Good.
And Kimberly is behind My Social Work Career. And Kimberly, can you tell us what that's about?
Sure. My social work career is essentially just about social workers who are looking to transition into a career that fits them. A lot of times, individuals who are not a part of the social work field have such a closed view of how social workers perform their daily tasks. Generally, that's just the thought, social workers take children all day. That's not what we do. We do so much more than that. And so because the professional world has really boxed us in as well, social workers find challenges when it comes to having the degree, having the expertise, and trying to get out of that box. And so really just supporting social workers create a name and a brand that works for themselves. surrounded around what they want to do. And it's not necessarily relegated just to children and family services. That can be in hospital work, that can be, working in education, that can be working in corporate America. And so really just rebranding a social worker in any way that they see fit to work that works for them.
Wow. And so you managed to, like your book, combine travel and social work together. So what does your career specifically look like, and what do you specialize in?
So at this moment, I'll say at this moment because I enjoy doing many things, but at this moment, as a travel social worker, I work in a hospital setting. And so I support families, children, women, pregnant moms, the elderly, whomever comes into a hospital setting needing care, medical attention. I support them essentially sometimes at their lowest, whether it's, with a dying family member, supporting families, finding support at home so that way they can feel safe and comfortable until that day comes, or working with moms who, have newborn babies and they made the decision to adopt the child out, or, they came into the hospital and they didn't know they were pregnant. And then boom, here we go, a new baby. So what do I do from here? So it's just a gamut of things when it comes to supporting anyone who walks into a hospital, basically helping them be safe, confident, and comfortable when they go home.
So I'm in a setting, I'm doing some health things that I have to do on a regular basis. And there's a social worker at the place. And whenever she comes up to me, because I'm not familiar with social work at all, she comes up to me saying, "How are you, Mrs. Jones?" So when you say support, is that what you mean? She's like, "How are you feeling?" She always has a checklist, how are you feeling mentally? And I always feel like, as a person who's being helped by the social worker, I don't have enough darkness or drama for her. She always said, no, we want you to be healthy and well. But I'm like, I'm not ready to commit suicide. I'm not there.
Yes, those are the questions that we do ask.
Yeah.
But but even let's say, for instance, if you are in the whatever setting you're in, and that social worker approaches you and says, "How are you doing?" I know some families that I have approached while I'm at work, they have pets that are at home and they are admitted to the hospital, and so they can't take care of their pet. They don't have anyone locally who can do that. I would be that person to pretty much relieve your stress of figuring out how your pet is going to be, when you're at home. I mean, when you're in the hospital trying to take care of you versus worrying about your pet. And nothing is too small, nothing is too big for a social worker in a hospital setting. Sometimes we get dumped with things that, necessarily, anyone can figure out, but that's the beauty of being a social worker, being able to take on someone else's needs at the time when they're not able to. And that can be any kind of need.
Okay. That makes sense then. So, because I'm always like, what?
No. It doesn't have to be dark. No, it doesn't have to be dark. It can be anything that is causing you, stress, and you need some relief in your moment of need.
Okay, it's good.
Because you're contributing to their overall health, because stress at the end of the day affects your body anyway.
Exactly.
Really cool. I never thought of that way. So thank you for explaining that.
Yes.
So I just want to take a couple steps back, because your other book is a devotional for people who've been through sexual abuse. And, I was looking at your two books and I was like, oh, these are two different topics completely. But in any way, did your history with sexual abuse kind of motivate you to get into social work at all? Or was that just a completely separate decision?
I'll say this. I knew that social workers existed when I was a kid and I had trauma and things like that, right? Again, I had that boxed in view myself as, this is all that social workers do. But I always knew I wanted to help people. I always knew that I wanted to help people get to their best selves in the moment of need. And that whether that's, sexual trauma, whether that's, medical concerns, whether that's professional trauma. Sometimes we go through a lot of trauma in the workplace and we don't talk about it. And so I just knew that I wanted to help. Right. And I started off with sociology in undergrad, and I was like, okay, what am I going to do with this? I don't know. And then I started a master's program in mental health counseling because I figured, well, that's the way that I want to go. And then I said, well, psychology-based programs really don't work for me. Social work, social-based programs work for me because when social-based programs get to the root of the issue, and then we work out from there, right? And so in the example that was just given, being in the hospital and having stress, yeah, I need to get my pet taken care of while I'm here. Okay, well, that's the root of your stress. That's the root of your stress right now. So let's figure it out and go from there. And so that is how I came into social work, because I actually started a mental health counseling psychology-based program. And I said, psychology-based really isn't working for me. I'm not really interested in just supporting someone in their, in the mental capacity. I'm interested in supporting someone with all gamuts of their life that will bring them to a healthy place mentally. And so that's how I came to social work. I had a friend at the time that was in a social work program, and she kind of explained it to me, what that path looks like. And then I went from there. But the base of me getting into social work definitely had to do with my own trauma, and just knowing that at some point in life, I wanted to do something that would really help someone in their personal environment, in their home.
Nice. And so you mentioned too, I read somewhere you mentioned Dr. Greer, because this is all about relationships, our show. So I also want to talk about how relationships helped you get into your career or achieve your goals. And you talk about how Dr. Greer kind of helped you or planted the seed for your traveling social work career. And then maybe some friends may have helped you along the way. Could you talk more about how important that was to have that relationship?
I didn't know how important it was at the time, to be honest with you. As I just mentioned, a friend was in a social work program. And so she kind of explained that to me of how it goes, right? And so, yes, had I not had that relationship, I believe I still would have stumbled into social work some way. But to have it explained so that way I can have a laser focus, a linear focus on what I'm doing, that was very helpful. Right? When I started my mental health counseling program, before I started the Master's of Social Work program, I didn't have anybody. I was just trying to figure it out myself, And so when I was in my Master's program and I spoke to Dr. Greer, was actually one of my professors, I was like, this lady, she kind of got a little flair that I like, She's here one semester, she's not. I'm looking at her name, but looking for her name on the course list. She's not there. So I'm emailing her. And come to find out, oh, I'm in Germany working. Oh, you doing what, ma'am? How can I do that?
Right.
What you mean? Right. So that's how it started, and that relationship with Dr. Greer really created a sense of confidence around, I can do whatever I want to do, within alignment, right? Within alignment. Let me say it that way. And I had the capability to be able to do that. And then even just going back further, when I was in high school, I had a teacher, Mr. Bratt, who really drilled that in me. Kim, you are brilliant. Kim, you can do whatever it is that you want to do. And it didn't take 50 people to help me get to where I am today, to understand that I can do whatever I need to do or want to do in life. It took one person here. It took one person there, And so I believe that relationship is absolutely important. And just, working with individuals who are part of the My Social Work Career, group, and they fall under that umbrella, I am that one person for them because they're trying to figure it out, and I truly believe that just having that one person who is solid, who has a level of understanding of where you want to go and what you want to do, they can really help you at that pivotal moment in your life to go left or right, and whether you choose to go left or right, you'll still end up where you're supposed to be no matter what.
I believe that. I think everybody needs a cheerleader. You need someone on the sidelines. You don't have to know them well or anything like that. You need someone that says, yes, you can do it, because there's tons of other voices saying, that's crazy, that's stupid. Nobody in our family has ever done anything like that. Even your own brain tells you, how can you do that? I remember one time I signed up for this 5K race and they told me that the trail was flat. That's the only reason that I would sign up for it. And I got out there, you running along. No, I'm not a runner. I'm using the word loosely. I'm jogging out there, right? Just so happy to be out there. And I get to one part and I look up and there's a hill. right? And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take this hill. I go, I get up this little hill. There's another one. So a 5K, you know how I think it's about was it like 3.5 miles long or something like that. And I'm at the very end, and I'm like, I can't take it anymore. I can't because there's so many hills now. And I will never forget, there was a lady who was on the side of me. I didn't know her. We hadn't said anything to each other. She's an older lady. And I start saying out loud, I can't do this. I can't do this. Right? And she said, yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can do this. You can finish. And something, by her saying that to me, something just rose up in me like I'm a warrior. And I just started digging in and I made it to the finish line. And again, what you were saying, it could be that one person in your life that will say to you, yes, you can. You can do this. You know, you can be anything you want to be. And it help you, you know, move forward. That's why this show is so important, because relationships are crucial. We live in a world where we're like, I don't need nobody, you know, but that is not true.
Right.
People in your life, you know, so that is huge. I'm sorry, I just went off.
No, you're good. You said something that is very important to me now, and I like to call myself as a part of the, you know, sandwich generation, so to speak. We're not necessarily the sandwich generation, but I'm in my late 30s, and so I was at the cross. You know, I grew up where cell phones were just becoming a thing. You still had to be inside with the street lights, but then here comes AOL with the dial-up internet, right? And so I'm used to reaching out to people. I still write letters. I still write cards. I still, write in cursive, you know, but then there's the social media age that has taken a lot of that away and makes us feel as though we don't need anyone. Individuality is important. Individuality is the only way to go. And that is not true. It is far from true. And so I identify with, we do need at least one or two people who are, you know, who are cheering us on in whatever season it is we're in life. And it may not be the same person the next season. It may be someone else. But relationship is pivotal to just making it over the finish line. Such as you in your race.
So Kim, do you think if you don't have anybody in your life who is a cheerleader, is it okay to pay someone to be that for you?
Baby, every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Okay, every Wednesday, and that's not a problem. Okay, every Wednesday. I have no problem in saying that. Okay. The one thing that I really value are my relationships amongst my family and my friends, right? But I also value a healthy relationship with a therapist. There's nothing wrong with that, because sometimes my family and friends cannot give me the perspective that I need in order to go on to the next phase of life, right? And I also like to say that sometimes you have to, I say this very, you know, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Okay. Sometimes you can't wear out your welcome, right? And I say that from the perspective of sometimes some folks cannot handle what you need support with, right? That's what a therapist is there for, right? And so it's understanding and learning how to embrace your relationships, but then also make sure that you lay your head where you need to appropriately. Right. So it's not shunning away from your friends or family. It's not getting people in your business. It's not that type of perspective. It's, I need this type of support, and this is what a therapist is for. Once your session is over, sharing with others, implementing what you've learned, that's very important. And I do that. You know, my friends know Wednesday at 6, don't call me, you know. So seriously, and then they check on me to see how things have gone. And so I don't shun away from that at all. And I actually encourage others to do it, because the better you are with going inward, the better your relationships will be outward. And so, you know, having a true conversation with yourself. Now, Kim, why do you feel like that right now? Or why you do that? What just made you do that, Kim? You know, having that pause and reflection, whether it's with a therapist, with yourself, and then being able to, implement what you learned outwardly, that is gold. It actually enriches your relationship with yourself and with others. So no, every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Every Wednesday.
This is so good. I just want to repeat, the better your relationship is inward, the better your relationships are outward. That was so good. But hold on, guys, because we're going to take a quick break before we come back and talk more with Miss Kimberly. Thank you so much.
All right. Now, a delicious word. Let's chew.
Hey, it's Carla, aka Homecook K, and I'm here with another plant-based recipe. This spring, in the height of the pandemic, we weren't eating out as much, and I was craving General Tso's chicken. I made the chicken recipe a few times, which was good, but it was much more work and dishes than I like. Then I came across this recipe, General Tso's chickpeas. Yes, chickpeas, which is very quick and easy. So, you start by adding 1 can of chickpeas, 1 tablespoon of coconut aminos, 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, and 1 tablespoon of cornstarch to a medium bowl. Mix the ingredients and set it aside for 10 minutes to marinate. Next, I heat up a tablespoon of coconut oil in a large skillet on medium heat. I add 2 cloves of chopped garlic, 1 teaspoon of freshly grated ginger, and 2 sliced green onions. I cook it for about 2 minutes and add the marinated chickpeas and stir to coat. I mix in half a cup of vegetable broth, 2 tablespoons of coconut sugar, 2 teaspoons of liquid aminos in a small bowl. I add those ingredients to the chickpeas and stir gently until the sauce thickens. I then remove it from the heat and stir in 1 teaspoon of sesame oil. And you're done. You have beans that taste like one of your favorite Chinese food chicken dishes. To simplify this recipe further, replace the coconut aminos with liquid aminos and use whatever sweetener you have. You don't have to use coconut sugar. I hope you enjoy.
Just want to say this is good for my soul. I just,
Yay!
Yeah, it just reiterates, man. I'm an introvert, and just, a lot of times an introvert, you go back and you think you don't need people. I just need to sit on the couch or wherever and just regroup. And you need times like that. But then there are times when you're like, I need to be able to talk to someone. And,
I'm an introvert extrovert. So I get it. But once I'm done being an extrovert, I'm good. Let me go back to my corner and reflect.
Yeah, that's how I am. And it's funny because the mountains just get so big in my head when I try to like pull back and just be to myself. Like I can make like, the boogie monster gets bigger and scarier. Like my insecurities get, just like ballooned, like blow out of proportion. And so it's like,
yeah, that's where a good routine comes into place with yourself. And that's something that I had to learn how to exert that energy in a productive way, right? Because that mountain does get really big. And then when you're done, having that alone time, you now wake up or you now get dressed and go outside and you like, woo, I don't know if I can climb this mountain, because now you created this mountain in your head and now you're amongst people and out and about and it's impossible. So yeah, let me go back inside real quick. Let me go back inside. And so that time alone has to be very purposeful in order to break down what you're doing, why you're having that thought, why you feel that way, in order to be okay when you do walk outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you say people who experience trauma, maybe not just in their childhood, but just period, that mountain tends to be more present with them all the time? Does that make sense what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying, because one of the things that I, going through my journey of healing, I always said, why did this have to happen to me? Because when I think about my life, I'm always going to be undoing something, right? I'm always going to be undoing something. And that within itself, that mountain of knowing I am always going to be undoing something, like really, was a challenge, you know. But I believe that whether it's, you know, childhood trauma in the workplace, trauma, you know, in relationships and things like that, no matter what it is, we're always going to be undoing, you know, and we're always going to be learning. One of the things that I always say is that once you are done learning and undoing, that'll be the last time you close your eyes. I always say that. And I don't say that in a morbid way, but your work is done, right? And so it's always going to be something, you know, but I believe that the time that you have with yourself and the time that you have to enjoy, to really learn how to undo that work in a healthy way, it can become joy. It's joyful. You know, you can enjoy life better when you have a routine or a, you know, a plan to continually unlearn those things, but then also enjoy what you learned, enjoy what you unlearned. You know, now that I'm free to be able to, you know, think without having that mountain pile up, what am I going to do with my time now? It was used to, you know, worry or have anxiety and build that mountain. But now I have free time because I don't live there anymore. So what am I going to do with it? What am I going to do to enjoy it? And so it sounds like a very high mountain to climb, or it can be, you know, intimidating. Like, man, the rest of my life, I'm going to always have something. But it's okay. It's okay because, you know, we have relationships and life is fun. You know, it is.
But that really helped me because I'm going through my own mountains right now, and just to think, okay, there's a freedom it feels like that can come with, you know what, I'm going through some stuff and I'm gonna have to fix it, or I'm gonna have to go through it, but okay, just to settle in and not let that be what's churning in your head all the time. You know, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, and, you know, and it build up. So that was very helpful. Thank you for that.
Absolutely. So just personally, like I can share, like one of the things that challenged me, like I was, you know, being young, I was like, okay, so, you know, my family has gone through this. I've experienced, you know, trauma and all of this stuff. Boom. Once I get free, I'm living my life. And then I ran up on a fence, like in college, and I was like, oh, I thought I was done with fixing that part. And so life is supposed to just be free from now on. And it didn't work out like that. Yeah. You know, life is about moments where, you know, you learn, you enjoy, you learn, you enjoy. And even sometimes while you're learning, you enjoy it, you know. And I think the pressure of trying to be perfect and trying not to have anything go wrong in life caused additional stress on top of what I was dealing with, you know. And so just having the perspective of, hey, life is definitely about, you know, ebbs and flows. You know, those mountains that you said you were climbing in that race that you had no idea that were coming. That'll preach right there.
There you go.
Yeah, you know, that is life. And I think that when we understand that, we can easily go up that hill, and then when we come down, we have a breath, and then be able to set ourselves up for the next hill that comes.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. It's funny. I heard somebody say, like, you either live in a cycle of gratitude or a cycle of resentment. And like, so and you reminded me of that, because a lot of times we think we're trying to get to an end, like, you know, accomplish this, and, you know, I would have been perfect then, I would have been achieved my goal, and that's when I'll just be living with no worries, no issues whatsoever. But it's like these constant cycles of growing, learning, like you said, learning, unlearning, growing, etc. And you can either do those cycles with gratitude for each moment, or with resentment for everything that you have to face. And so so listening to you, I'm just like, man, like we have to definitely be aware that we're always going to be learning, and starting from the bottom and going to the top again. Like, we're going to be in freshman year over and over again for the rest of our lives. And are we going to decide to appreciate that and appreciate the lessons that we learned? Or are we going to decide to resent the circumstances each time?
Man, you said something and something just came to mind. We definitely will be in freshman year for the rest of our lives, right? We are always going to come to a moment where we are fresh meat, as they used to say, right? Back in the day. But we can choose to stay there, or we can choose to progress. And I say that, I know that life has its ebbs and flows, right? But with something that I was just thinking about, at the end of the day, you are going to learn the same lesson over and over and over and over again if you don't embrace the process of that lesson. Mm-hmm. Ask me how I know. Ask me how I know. You know, so some people truly stay at freshman year in a certain area of their life, right? They go on to something, you know, sophomore, junior, senior year, in other areas of their lives. But some areas of their lives, they stay stuck in that area. And it's not meant for us to stay stuck. It's not, we are never stuck. That is something that we tell ourselves. It's a matter of, okay, why am I here again? You know, why am I not moving forward? And it's not in comparison to someone else. It's in comparison to the fact that you know you shouldn't be there anymore. Your own standard, your own internal barometer is telling you something's, I keep coming here, you know, I keep coming here and it's not okay for me. And so that we will stay stuck in freshman year if we don't embrace the journey of going through that year, you know, technically, figuratively speaking, of matriculation. You know, sometimes it may take you 30 days to go through that hump in life. Sometimes it may take you 2 days. I like to say sometimes a quick work can happen. You learn your lesson and you move forward. It doesn't necessarily have to drag out to a year or, you know, months.
I want a quick work. I want the quick one.
You can have it.
I want the quick one.
You can have it.
I don't want to be like 6, 8, 10 months, a year. Tell me the quick one right now. I want the cliff notes. Give it to me now. I'm ready to take the test. I'll study shortly and then take that test.
Sometimes it works like that.
I don't want to keep going. I don't want to do that.
Sometimes it works.
Give me the secret.
Yeah. You know what? It's running. I said I ran up on a fence, and you know, when I went to college, it's running up to that fence and being okay with the fact that, you know, you may not be able to climb it, you know, on your own. You may need somebody to, sis, can you push me up real quick? You know, I just need a little help, you know, or I'm a believer. God, I don't know how you're going to do this. No one else is around right now in this season of my life. It's me and you. So give me the strength to get up here.
Yeah.
You know? So, again, going back to relationships, you have to be okay with not having the answers all the time. You have to be okay with understanding, I don't know what I'm doing right now, but, you know, we always want to work through things quickly, but, you know, the intention of understanding whatever you're going through in that season is important. You know, am I just going through the motions so that way I can get to the next goal, or am I going through the motions because I don't have the strength right now, but I feel beat up, but I'm still going to walk forward? You know, what is the intention behind that? And oftentimes than not, when you come out on the other side, you realize, man, that may have been 4 months of me, you know, trekking and doing what I needed to do, but I needed that for the discipline. I needed that to be able to, you know, now have that as a part of my psyche, my mindset. So moving forward, when I come to another, you know, fence or whatever, what have you, I automatically think and know that I can do it. And so it's just a matter of what you need in that season. Sometimes we do have to go through those long seasons.
We take a repeat course, all that.
Yeah.
I have freshman again.
I have like 2 more questions, and Betty, you can edit them out if you want, because I don't know how long we are, but this is good. So the first question I had is, in dealing with your social work stuff, so in doing like your social work network and people create their career that they want, do you find often that they are in the way of them achieving that career, like them not pretty much embracing the journey or whatever it may be? Do you find that happens a lot?
I feel like that it does happen a lot, and that's only because of the box that we have been placed in. right? So it's unlearning yourself. Like I had to unlearn. Let me tell you how I had to unlearn. Somebody put me on game to who I was. Okay. Somebody told me how great I was. Somebody told me, girl, you sure you want to be doing that? You could be doing so and so and so and so. And they didn't say it in an encouraging way. It was really in a condescending way. It's like, you know, you good. You know, when we say you good, you really not. You really, we call it you, you know, kind of stupid when we say, oh, you good for being able to stick around, sis. Like that's pretty much the attitude that it was.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know,
Okay.
that was the attitude. That's the tone that it was. And I was like, oh, they are right. And I took that as an opportunity to, again, go inward and say, what can I do with what I have? And sometimes we just need that. We just need that. And again, social work is the profession where we are boxed in a lot and we are not given the respect that we are due with all that we carry for other people every day. But at the end of the day, I do have to have that talk with some folks. You know, it's like, okay, no, you do know that you have these kind of skills, right? You do know that you can do this, right? You do know that people come to you for everything. Therefore, you have the ability to figure out what it is that you need to do within your own personal life, you know? And so, yeah, it does come with that, but it is a brief conversation. Once I have that conversation, it's like, man, my mind is open now. And I can pretty much take the skills that I have and go wherever I want to go.
That's a great question, Roxy. That was really good.
Yeah, it was.
Be like, yeah, and it takes somebody else seeing it in you sometimes. Even if they're condescending, like, oh, you good for standing there like that, girl.
They tried me, but it was the best thing ever because it gave me the freedom to do what I truly want to do.
Wow. And then the other question I had is, I know you like kind of transitioned from, you know, helping other people with their experience of sexual trauma to, you know, the social work career. So was that hard for you to transition from, like, especially since both things you had books out about and maybe you promoted the books, and then were there people like relationships, like your family, friends or whatever, who also couldn't make that transition with you?
I will say, no. Oh no, I was like, oh shoot, Mario. I would say the real issue with the transition was with me. Because when you lead your life in a way that others respect what it is that you have going on today, people fall in line. And I don't say that in a you know, military way. I mean it sincerely. Like when you are okay with who you are and where you are, other people respect it too. So really, it took me the longest to get on board because a lot of people were connecting with me about my story. A lot of people were wanting me to talk about, you know, the devotional for survivors of sexual abuse. I have no issues with discussing that, but that's not all who I am. You know, and I didn't want to be the poster child for someone to feel like, well, Kim is, you know, here's Kim, and this is all that she has to offer, and this is all that she has to talk about. I don't. You know, I have so many other skills that are phenomenal. I have so many other things that I can talk about. And it's not that, you know, the sexual abuse is a shameful or guilty place at all, but I did not want others to become stuck in the same way. You know, sometimes when survivors share their story, now they're labeled as that forever. And I didn't want someone else to feel like, okay, well, when I share my story, when I have the confidence to heal from this, that's pretty much, that's all that's on my plate now. No, you know, and so it did take me a while to, I don't want to say let it go, but kind of let my hand off of it a little bit in order to be free to be who I am. And that was the reason why I wrote the book in the first place. You know, I wanted others to feel the freedom of living life, not being bound by the trauma that has happened. And so when I gave myself permission to do that and to figure out how I'm going to live my life and how I'm going to, you know, engage others now professionally and personally, man, it's been great. It's been great. But, you know, I still support survivors. I will always support survivors. But my main story with writing the devotional was, you are not your circumstance. And so I feel great in living that now in order to give others permission to do the same.
Nice. Wow. And just so that's all the questions I had. Betty, did you have anything else?
Good.
So this has been so good, and I just want to wrap up because and say how it's gone full circle, because one of the things that you mentioned from your I guess a professor who wasn't really a professor full time, who traveled herself, was that relationship actually gave you an example, like a real life example of what could be. And so you're doing the same thing with people who've gone through sexual trauma, and then now with your own social trauma.
Think about that.
Yeah. So.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
So it's cool because, relationships is not only about what you're saying and what you're doing with each other, but also about the example that you provide for someone else or that they provide to you. That's also part of a relationship. Then also how important it is for you to have a healthy and good relationship with yourself and reflect and everything in your own personal time. And then how relationships can help reflect who you are, because maybe you don't know how great you actually are, and you need someone to say it and say, yes, girl, you can do that.
Yeah.
And get up and do it. So I think this has been such a rich conversation, and I want to thank you, Kimberly.
You're so welcome. Thank you so much.
Can you tell people where they can find you?
Absolutely. So you can find me on, I'm mostly on Instagram a lot. It's Kimberly Renay, RENAY, KIMBERLY, RENAY. Or you can email me freely, that's fine. info@mysocialworkcareer.com or info@kimberlyrenay.com. All of those, upgrade@kimberlyrenay.com. I check those emails frequently, but more so than anything, I'm on Facebook and Instagram more so than anything. But yeah, that's how I can be reached.
Any last words you want to say for anybody?
Yeah, just simply, your relationship with yourself is the most important relationship that you can have on this earth. And just not being afraid to go inward and doing the work in order to hear yourself, in order to understand yourself and give yourself grace daily is what's going to really have you be in great relationship with other people consistently. And so I would say whatever it takes to do the work inwardly, do it. You will enjoy it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, ladies.
Yes, this was fantastic. Again, we're at the Chat and Chew Show, and I'm going to invite you to go to YouTube. You're probably already there, and click on that subscribe button, and then click the little bell right next to it so that every Tuesday we release a new episode, and we'd love to have you join our conversation. So again, we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
Good.
This show was brought to you by the Chat and Chew Company. Music by Elwood Jones. Lyrics by Roxanne. Bring a Chat and Chew live event to your organization. Contact us at chatandchewshow@gmail.com.